as we edge closer to the end of the 2023 Founders and Funders Retreat, I say bring on stage, one of them's already here. They're very fun. Come on, you may as well come up. You know who they are. We've got Lord Karan, Bilimoria, and Professor Manoj, Ladwa. All right, I'm going to stand to the side so we can check out these pictures. Bit of a blast from the past for you, huh? Oh, I love it. How does it feel looking back at those photos?
Wow.
Now, of course, many of you know Lord Bilimoria is the founder and chairman of global beer brand Cobra Beer, but that is, of course, by no means his only venture. And, of course, you all know Manoj Ladwa as the founder and chairman of the India Global Forum. And they're not there anymore, but there they were at the beginning of their careers. You know, it's really nice to sometimes take a walk down memory lane, isn't it? So you've both done it your way. Pun on that note, that song there. You've had a dream of being your own men, you know, of really creating something. And this week, we've hosted a lot of founders on different stages of their journeys, and have also heard from seasoned investors. So looking back at your journeys, what's been your biggest lesson? I'm going to go to you.
You're asking me first?
Yeah.
Okay,
You're
so
closest.
I'm going to let out a secret now. I learned how to box at the age of 8.
Yeah.
Because my father was in the Gurkhas, and the Gurkhas love boxing. And my first exhibition match was at the age of 8.
Yeah.
And it was frightening. It was terrifying. And to this day, I spar in the gym if I can.
Oh, wow.
And it's brilliant. And I've got a photograph of me with Muhammad Ali. And he said, come on, punch my nose. And the photographer captured me punching Muhammad Ali's nose.
Oh, that's a
So
accolade.
he would say I float like a butterfly and sting like a bee. Yeah? Whereas Mary Kong, she floats like a butterfly and sings like a bee as well. Thank you very much. Thank you.
See you later, Mary.
So
yeah, you know, you've achieved incredible things. You know,
well,
kind of this overarching view of your career and your journey. What has been one of your biggest lessons? I'm sure there's been more than one.
look, one of my favorite sayings is good judgment comes from experience, and experience comes from bad judgment.
Yeah.
So there's no shortcut to making the mistakes, and I've made many, many mistakes. But looking back on it, I think my life has actually been what you have created is all about. It's the India Global Forum, but from my point of view, it's been the UK-India Global Forum, because my life has been an Indo-British partnership.
Yes.
My grandfather, both my grandparents were educated here, my mother was educated, my uncle was educated here. I knew I'd come to study here. I didn't know that I would come to study here and then stay and start my own business. And then my life's work would be putting the UK and India together. And timing is everything.
Absolutely.
I started my business when the year before India officially liberalized. So I knew India would one day liberalize. And here we are today, 3 decades later, and that liberalization is really, really taken off. So I've been lucky to be part of that journey.
Yeah, I was going to say, it must have been really nice just to watch the trajectory, be on that timeline and be here and to talk
And be
about
part of it.
Yeah, of course, of course. Manoj, I've got to pose the same question to you. Looking back at your journeys, what's been your biggest lesson?
Just going back to the boxing analogy, my boxing practice happens in the kitchen with Dina, so there's a bit of sparring on a regular basis there. But look, for me, the biggest lesson, two things. One is follow your passion, and secondly is persistency. You've just got to keep at it. If you're passionate about something, carry on. Of course, don't be stupid about it. Take a step back once in a while, but persist. And if you have belief in something, and at every few points, have some validation, have some good friends that you can talk to, good mentors that you have, and that for me has been the one that has really got me through, because it's crazy to set up something like this. And when I people ask me, this is my entrepreneurial journey actually started as a lawyer. I started my first law firm when I was 27, and so that entrepreneurial bug happened there. When I pivoted across and sort of said, well, I want to set up a platform for India and global and so on, that was actually nothing to do with entrepreneur. I had no clue about how I'm going to make money out of it. I still don't have a clue, sorry Sanjay, about this. But that was about me being, can I use the phrase, pissed off. I was really, really pissed off about how India was being portrayed to the world, and the glass was always half empty. So I wanted to set up something where like-minded people could get together and say, yeah, there are issues, there are cracks, but overall, on balance, the glass is actually half full, or a bit more than half full, and it was an emotional reaction that led to where we are now.
Yeah, and honestly, I think that deserves a round of applause. You have done such an incredible work on this, and based on what I've been told, you continuously, year after year, continue to impress and bring people together, and that's really what it's all about. It's the closing remarks, so I'm going to leave it to you to, I don't know, sum up your week, sum up today. I want to hear what have been your best stories, maybe any businesses you wish you'd funded or got invested in.
Can we start?
You go.
Just, closing remarks, end the day.
Look, as I said yesterday at the awards, for me, when I look back at my own journey, having been born and brought up in inner city Birmingham, lived in a council house. My mum still lives in the council house that we've now bought as a family, but still lives there, and with very little financial means. And then sort of to be now in a position where I can, to some extent, give back, that for me is really enriching for me personally. And that's what makes things really worthwhile. But for me, the most special moment was to see the 4 entrepreneurs from Ladakh, the 4 ladies on stage here, speaking with such confidence, and IGF having had the opportunity to host them. And that's what makes it all worthwhile. The rest of it, having had the leader of the opposition speak at our opening on the Monday, having the Prime Minister host us and saying so many good words about IGF, that really is great.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, and it gives us that energy, but actually what makes it really worthwhile are these types of stories, and having Mary Com. And, frankly, I've been chasing her for 3 years to come onto an IGF platform.
You finally got her in.
And we finally got her. And the story you heard, that's what makes it worthwhile.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, you're going to make me cry. Okay, over to you.
Well, I've been really privileged to have known Manoj for over 2 decades. And here's something most people don't know. We were on a Foreign Office India board that was created at that time, and we'd meet once a month in a room in the Foreign Office when people barely talking about India. And I got this call just over 20 years ago. He said, Karan, do you have a British passport? So why are you asking me that? Don't ask questions, just tell me, do you have a British passport or not? I said, yes, I do. The next thing, I'm nominated as the UK chairman of the Indo-British Partnership, which was set up by John Major and Narasimha Rao 2 years after liberalization, 1993. 10 years later, they said, this needs an injection of entrepreneurial spirit. So they appointed someone like me, the first person of Indian origin, and he was responsible for it. And then who was my counterpart? The Indian co-chair, the Prime Minister's father-in-law, Narayan Murthy. So I've known Narayan Murthy 20 years ago, and the first thing he said when I met him, when I was officially appointed in the Locarno room, you were there, in the Foreign Office, Indian delegation was there, and he shook hands and he said, I've never met a bad Parsi. And the other day, at number 10, Narayan Murthy's wife, Sudha, the Prime Minister's mother-in-law, she said, I've never met a Parsi who cheats. So anyway, it's great to hear that. But that is where we started this journey. And it was a tough battle, getting people to be interested in India, getting people to recognize that India is going to take off. It hadn't yet taken off then. This initiative is a demonstration of India's absolute trajectory. There is no question about it. If you follow this whole week, you cannot but realize that India will be not only one of the top 3 economies in the world within 25 years, but quite possibly by 2060, India could be the number 1 largest economy in the world. And I know from the interest in the UK side, this has become such an important event. Not only do you have the leader of the opposition, not only do you have the Prime Minister, but you have the Cabinet Minister in every department that's involved who wants to be involved in this and wants to be there. The Education Forum, Gillian Keegan was there, and you should have heard the things that she said, the Education Secretary for Great Britain. She said, there is no question about it. I'm almost quoting her word for word. There is no question. We have to put the UK and India together in every educational way that we can. That's the mindset that is there now, and you've helped to inject that. So we are all very grateful for what you're doing. Yes. Thank you for what you're doing. You just reinforce that the UK and India have got to do more. But here's the but. Here's the but. We need to up our game here in the UK. You are showcasing the opportunity, but I led in April the first parliamentary delegation to India after 6 years. Now come on, you can make an excuse for COVID, but that's no excuse. Manoj and I were the only two people from the UK when Boris Johnson went to India last April, and we attended one event. There was no delegation apart from the officials. The last big prime ministerial delegation to India was in 2016 November when Theresa May. And I've said to Rishi, you've said to Rishi, take a big prime ministerial delegation as the first UK prime minister of Indian origin. You see the reception you're going to get in India. Take a jumbo jet full of business leaders, ministers, university leaders, and the press, and let's go out there and make an impact and show that Britain really means business and wants that UK-India partnership.
And Karan, excuse the pun, something's brewing. Watch this space.
Oh, thank you guys. Honestly, the work that you've both done is nothing short of admirable, inspirational. And, you know, as we kind of close or reach the conclusion of this brilliant retreat, I think it's essential that we carry on with this inspiration and motivation to create a better future, which is the path that we're already on. But to keep doing what you're doing, both of you, really is amazing. One more question for you. In one sentence, tell us what you're looking forward to next year.
It's going to be a long sentence without any, just imagine the full stops doing commas. Look, we've had a torrid time over the last so many months. You know, a lot of economic turbulence. You know, the war in Ukraine, a whole host of other things. So I'm looking forward next year to some stability and continuity, especially in India. Yeah. Read between the lines.
Yes, right. I think next year is going to be a very important year, globally actually. God willing, the Ukraine war will be over. I pray that that's the case because that'll be so transformational for the whole world. We're going to have next year Indian elections, probably the first ones, and then we're going to have our elections over here. We don't know when, but probably after the Indian elections, and then we're going to have the American elections. So 3 major global events, and you know the geopolitics of the world are changing in front of us. You had 2 superpowers, the USA, USSR. Well, we now know Russia is not even one of the top 10 economies in the world, let alone being a superpower. You've only had 1 superpower. Now we've got USA and China, and now we've got a 3rd superpower that's going to be joining that, India. So you'll have the USA and China and India. So that's happening in front of our eyes. So next year is really, really important for that. And as for you and the IGF, how can it get better than this? Well, I know it probably will. Good, better, best, never let it rest until your good is better and your better best.
Oh, so on that note, we've got rappers, singers. I don't have any hidden talent. I can't throw in the pool. So on that note, I just want to say thank you to everyone who's got involved in today and making today's what it is. In fact, the entire week, and not just the speakers and people taking part in the discussions, all the people behind the scenes, a lot of moving parts to putting this together. It's not easy, but I think you've pulled it off. Not I think, you have pulled it off. It has been an incredible success, and I'm looking forward to next year. It's been my first time. It's been an honour to be your host. Thank you for having me. I hope I've done you proud, and hopefully I'll see you all again next year.
Really wonderful.
Well done.